Mario, as someone that you've been to the pinnacle of college football, being a part of a national championship team, but where did Saturday's win rank in your personal achievements for you?
Oh, as high as any of those. I like to relive it for a second, but I won't and I can't. But certainly the moment itself. I mean, it doesn't get any better. It hasn't been. I mean, that's as good or better than any moment I've been fortunate enough and privileged enough to be a part of, and obviously extremely fired up for our fans, and because the way that they came out, the way they made that stadium rock, and the way they affected the game and our energy. I'm glad. It looks like they enjoyed it, so hopefully they did, and I'm glad they did.
Yeah, Coach, I looked at the stats there. 44 running plays with running backs. None of them were for negative yardage. What do you attribute that to, and kind of what a success is that against a defense like that?
Yeah, it's a big accomplishment. It's the direction we've been really aiming for and working towards since January. Being able to control the line of scrimmage. They're an excellent front and they're an excellent defense. A lot of talent, a lot of big, stout guys. I think after a game like that, your body feels it. You could tell. But that being said, against a team like that, a lot of times being in second and eight is not a bad thing, because second and eights will turn into second and twos or second and ones or 12, 14-yard gains, and certainly happens. So it's certainly a lot of progress towards what we want, and we feel that we could continue progressing and get better in that department.
In games like that, we always gravitate to like a guy like CJ or Dylan or Justin, who had big games. But after review, what stood out to you? Maybe that doesn't show up in the box score when you reviewed that game.
You guys competing, just refusing to get caught up in the scoreboard of the moment. We told our guys the scoreboard lies now. You could go out there and physically dominate for a long, long time and knock some people around and look up and a fumble or an interception or just an unlucky play, it might say the other team's winning, when on the field you're kind of doing the things for the most part you're supposed to do. So don't pay attention to it. I thought that was the most important thing we did, is the entire time just kept playing ball, no matter what. Aside from that, the physicality of the front lines continues to improve and progress. I think the investment is paying off. And that being said, we're not to where we need to be yet, but it's certainly, we're making a lot of progress in that department, and it must continue. And the other part is, we have to keep developing depth. Carlberg has shown, I mean, the guy's essentially, he's a co-starter because of his work and his development. Now guys like Sione, guys like Popo, guys like Gary Baker, all those guys, guys like Jacob Capra, who popped in there. Brady's played football before, so he's a guy that we consider another co-starter guy. But guys like him, guys like Stephen Jones, may get an opportunity to play now down the road. So all in all, at the line of scrimmage.
Other than the interception for Diamador and then the one long pass play for UW, the corners kind of weren't in the spotlight a lot. How do you think they covered, and particularly going forward, with the challenge they're going to face this weekend in light of that?
Sure, they did a really good job. Keith Hayward is, along with Dante, of course, but Keith has really brought some new wrinkles to our defense in terms of coverage, to be able to not only, and sometimes to protect your corners so they're not in island all day, but also to be able to give different pictures and different looks to the opponent quarterback, and being able to tie those into what we do up front. It's been a tremendous factor for us in terms of improving in that department. And you're going to have to, because this crew that we're playing against, the quarterback's an excellent player. The offensive line is a veteran group that protects him well. They have every kind of receiver you want on your roster. They have the big guy that could, long stride and run by you. They have the slot guy that could wiggle right by you and create problems in space. They use their running back extremely well out of the backfield and in empty formations to create mismatches, wheel routes and whatnot, pick routes on some of your linebackers and safety. So you have to be very disciplined in terms of what you're seeing, your assignment, and also from a technical standpoint. You have to be able to disrupt these guys, and you have to be able to affect the quarterback, because he gets rid of the ball quickly, and if he does have time, he's even that much more dangerous.
Mayor, I just wanted to clear up the ambiguity there. You said with Panay and Dallas that they were those guys you were waiting word on, or were you confident that they were minor injuries, or just wanted clarity on that?
We believe Dallas, I believe, is full go. Panay, we're going to wait and see how he is.
And then with the Washington State's pass defense, they lead the league in in pass defense overall, and they're third in conference play. Just this is a little bit of a different Washington State team than years past. I know last year they also made improvement. What have you seen from that pass defense in particular when you're obviously a pretty potent passing offense?
Sure, it starts with what they do on first down. Their success rate on first down, doing a couple things. They stem the front a lot, which always causes problems for an offensive line. The picture starts looking one way, it changes in a second. So either it causes issues with line calls and communication, or you get offenses jumping off sides, which all of a sudden you're in 1st and 15. Well, we do all our analytical work and our statistical work. When teams are on 1st and 15, their success rate for getting the punt team on the field in 3 plays is about 98%. So first down is critical in this game. You got to make sure that you're disciplined. You don't allow all this eye candy to get you to jump and be jittery. So that's important. Number 2 is their defense is very challenging because they move like crazy. They are a stunt, stem operation, meaning that they might start in a 4-man front, stem to bear, stem to odd. Very exotic in their third down packages. They use big guys or outside and smaller guys inside and switch those guys around. Their full line slants and angles are very difficult to block. They get underneath the zone schemes, underneath some of the gap scheme stuff. And they play their fifth safeties are really strong and heavy run support guys. They're going to be in there, and sometimes it's going to look like cover 0, but they're playing their quarters coverage stuff. So they're going to get hats to the football. They're going to disrupt the line of scrimmage. They've got to be one of the tops in the country in creating negative plays because of what they do. So you have to be very disciplined in the way that you ID them, in the way that you block them, and the technique you use, because when guys are slanting and angling like that, what happens first? Your feet don't catch up. So what happens after that? Typically your hands are in bad position and you start tugging and getting your holding call. So that's one of the many challenges of this defense. They're playing at a really high level. Last year they gave us tremendous problems. They came here to Autzen and we jumped off sides a good chunk of times, put ourselves in tough down and distance situations, and they flat out they played a better game than we did. So we certainly we have our work cut out for us and something that we're looking forward to.